Well, first of all, the program notes generally end up having to be written rather quickly because I'm dealing with creating the programs up to a certain point, trying to get them ready so we can publish a brochure and get that out. But then as soon as that's finished, then I'm presented with a deadline for when the program notes are supposed to come. At the same time, we're beginning to work on the rehearsal schedule because now that we've gotten the performances locations all set and the program set, now we have to figure out when and where and how much we're going to rehearse these programs. So that has to be worked through. And I create a great big calendar for the whole season and make my notes on that. And then I type that up and send it to Allison, and then she takes over. And as far as the program notes are concerned, one good thing from having done this so long is if we're repeating a piece from a previous season, I've got those program notes already done, unless I decide that I want to update them or edit them somehow, but sometimes I do a little bit. But that's always a blessing because that's a lot of work already done. If we're doing a piece that we've never done before, but it's by a composer that we've performed before, let's say it's a piece by Haydn that we've never performed before, but we've already done many pieces by Haydn. I've already got the biographical background on Haydn from previous program notes, so I can reuse that portion to the extent that it's applicable. But then I have to create something for the specific piece. So that's kind of like a half a program note. That takes less time than a brand new composer that we've never performed before, and maybe I'm not even all that familiar with. That takes quite a bit of time. That can take me 2 or 3 days to do a decent job of a program note for just one piece. And I've kind of changed the way I do that now. For one thing, again, using the internet, instead of having a pile of books on my desk and looking through various things, I still do that to a certain extent, but I also find information on the internet as far as the background material for the composer. But then when I want to talk about the piece itself, a work that I'm not all that familiar with, I definitely want to listen to it if that's possible. And usually it is. Usually there's on YouTube or someplace, there's an example or recording that I can listen to. And sometimes those YouTube examples have the music with them. They have the score going along as you're listening to it. That's ideal. That's perfect for my purposes. Sometimes I'll have the score and be able to look at it while I'm listening to it. And then sometimes at some point, I found this kind of fun. I discovered that I can actually type without looking at my fingers. I used to think I needed to look at my fingers, but I can actually type without looking at my fingers. And I can listen to the music and just sort of describe it as I'm listening to it. Now, this wouldn't be the first time through. I would have listened to it maybe several times, but when I actually come to start writing, I find it fun to sit there and listen to it. And if it's on the screen, I can watch it, but I can type what I'm hearing and then go back and edit that. So that's one way that I work too. But I try to look for what's meaningful about the piece, not just to describe it, but to figure out what the composer's trying to say, why it's significant. Was there something unusual that was being introduced at this point, or how does it relate to what other composers are doing? Give it context is, I guess, what I'm hoping to achieve.